Hi, welcome back to Movies Reloaded. Today we have a great recapped movie for you, so sit back and relax and enjoy the film. The first part of the film is set in Berlin during the Second World War. Hitler is accompanied by Keppel, a behavior consultant. Hitler expresses his disapproval of the greeting given to Keppel by the public. He argues that even though the Nazi salute is out of date, people should at the very least raise their hands to their wrists to express respect. Then he recounts how he did everything a human could do to undermine the enemy's foundations after they had desecrated their soil. He finds it alarming that he is also here and finds Germany's existence to be incomprehensible. The next scene shows him waking up on the ground in a forest. He notices that the enemy aircrafts are absent from the sky and surmises that they may have taken a break. A ball starts to bounce towards him and stops right by his side. He stands up and walks past the bush toward a building. Then three young children come up to him and inquire about his well-being. When Hitler looks at them, he believes that they represent the country's future. Then he inquires about the route to the street. A reporter named Fabian Sawatsky is recording the children at that precise moment with his camera. On the opposite side of the screen, Hitler can be seen. He grabs his army cap and tells himself he needs to visit the Führer bunker. When Hitler enters the street, he is astounded to see people riding one-wheeled bicycles. He observes people taking pictures of him and declares that although the rubble has vanished, people have become insane. He wonders if he went into a coma and missed the victory when he feels a modern car by his hand. He becomes aware that he does not fully understand his circumstances and sets himself on alert to learn more. The person then requests a picture from him after he asks about the location of the chancellery. As people approach him and take turns taking pictures of him, he becomes disturbed by the camera flashes. He is perplexed by the strange events taking place around him and comes to the conclusion that something is wrong. Hitler notices a woman on her phone speaking in German as he leaves. When he gets close to her and asks her what day it is, she becomes frightened and spits in his eyes. Hitler sobs in agony as his eyes turn red and his vision becomes foggy. He staggers and makes his way to a nearby newspaper stand. When he suddenly falls to the ground after being shocked to see the date written on the paper is October 3, 2014. In another place, Mr. Christoph Sensenbrink receives high praise from Kerner, the head of a TV station, for his outstanding performance in that role. He offers a better solution, but instead designates Miss Katia Bellini as the new managing director. Christoph is astounded and dissatisfied as a result. He enters his office and confronts Fabian, a struggling filmmaker, with his rage. Fabian makes every effort to persuade his boss, but the guards fire him and throw him out. Hitler asks the owner of the newsstand about the date after he awakens there a while later. He affirms that the year is indeed 2014. Hitler is perplexed and wonders if the shopkeeper has kidnapped him. He also wonders if the enemy's secret service is pulling a fast one. If the shopkeeper is working for the enemy, he threatens to kill him, but the shopkeeper instead gives him a bar of chocolate. After much struggle, Hitler manages to open it and give it a sniff. He identifies it as grain that has been mechanically pressed and asks the shopkeeper if there is still a shortage of bread. Hitler is mistaken for an actor by the shopkeeper, who inquires if a documentary is being filmed nearby. Hitler responds that he is the Führer when the shopkeeper says that he looks exactly like the Führer. Hitler then notices the Turkish newspaper and inquires about the availability of Stürmer or Panzer Bar. The store owner claims that Turkish customers are increasing. Hitler is shocked by the Turkish population in Berlin. He then begins reading the newspaper for information. He makes the assumption as he reads that he didn't win the previous war and that Germany was placed in the hands of awkward women with the charisma of a wet noodle. He also bemoans Poland's existence and declares the war to have been a complete waste of time. Fabian weeps as he watches the video of the soccer reporting while grieving his dismissal. After seeing Hitler in the background, his mother comforts him and asks him to pause the video. Fabian finds it amusing that someone who resembles Hitler so much exists. Hitler is instructed to set the newspaper aside and stand outside by the store owner when they return inside. Hitler resents being required to work. The store owner advises Hitler to wash his stinky clothes. He then requests that they clean his uniform at a laundromat. Since he can't leave naked, Hitler inquires as to whether they have another uniform. Hitler can then be seen wearing a sweater and jeans as he makes his way to the news vendor. On the other hand, Fabian has tracked him down and is waiting for him in the store. Hitler appears before him, and he is astounded by his appearance. Hitler is asked by Fabian if he can be filmed as he marches through contemporary Germany. Hitler supports the notion. Fabian sets out on his journey with Hitler after receiving some money and a car from his mother. Hitler finds the television amusing when the two arrive in a hotel. Then he makes the choice to discuss politics in Fabian's presentation. He visits various locations to inquire about people's political opinions. After conducting the interviews, he discovers that during his absence, democracy had little effect on the populace. He observes people's repressed rage and discontent, which makes him think of the 1930s when people held similar beliefs but didn't use the term political disenchantment. People inform Hitler of the issue with immigrants in the nation, which leads Hitler to promote the notion that mixing races doesn't work. Later, Fabian queries Hitler about the origin of his distinctive mustache. Hitler responds by saying he trimmed his mustache to fit a gas mask. After some time, the two find themselves in a farm where Hitler is bit by a dog. He fires at the animal out of rage. After reprimanding him, Fabian seizes the gun. Eventually, Fabian runs out of money during the tour. However, he comes up with a plan and persuades bystanders to commission Hitler to draw their portraits. Hitler creates satirical artwork that people find amusing and buy. Once they have enough money, they continue their journey. Fabian takes Christoph back to town and plays a Hitler video for him. Considering Fabian posted the video online, it has received numerous views. The video's high number of views astounded Christoph. He requests Hitler's name and phone number from Fabian. After meeting him, Christoph believes Hitler to be insane and requests that Fabian remove him from the workplace. Hitler asks the director to save Germany with him before exiting the director's office. Bellini is intrigued by the concept and inquires about the strategy. She quickly requests that her assistant create a suitable TV format for broadcasting the Führer, as he considers Hitler's suggestion. Then Fabian threatens to take Hitler away unless Christoph returns his job. Christoph hires him as a kitchen boy after learning this and promises to promote him when a new editorial position becomes available. Hitler receives a table in the TV studio a little while later. Hitler needs computer assistance, so Christoph asks Kraumeyer to help. Hitler reflects on the computers of his youth and calls them one of the greatest inventions. Hitler is told that his name has already been taken by Kraumeyer when he attempts to sign him up for mail. Hitler groans when she uses his name without permission and tells her to use New Reich's chancellery, which was how he liked it. Hitler will appear on a live comedy show called Whoa Dude that Christoph is planning. Because Bellini received a promotion instead of him, he is still enraged and wants to cause her trouble. He intends to introduce racism into the discussion by making sarcastic jokes about Jews and omitting Hitler. Hitler is called to the stage as the show gets underway, according to host Witzigmann. When Hitler looks at the audience, the chatter about his appearance stops and the room falls silent. Hitler quickly breaks the awkwardness but does not deliver the lines exactly as written. He explains that although he is supposed to make a joke about immigrants, he will not. He claims that television is a fantastic human invention, but the programs that are broadcast are absurd. He highlights issues like poverty and unemployment and predicts that the nation's citizens are blindly sliding down a precipice. Hitler makes a promise to fight the TV not just until it broadcasts the abyss, but also until he defeats them. Everyone applauds him and says they like the idea. The host Witzigmann becomes jealous of Hitler's fame. Bellini requests that Christoph include Hitler in each performance. Due to the failure of his plan, Christoph is upset. The next scene shows Hitler giving interviews on various TV programs and stating that his goal is to restore Germany's greatness. He meets many people and party leaders as his popularity soars. By sharing his ideas, he begins to win them over. Hitler and Fabian pay a visit to the NPD's Berlin headquarters one day, asking Ulf Bern, the federal chairman of NPD, what his cause has so far accomplished. He calls for Bern. Hitler dismisses him and declares that they have wasted enough time, and the movement is stunned by their words for decades. When the police and the district attorney show up at the TV studio, Christoph becomes ecstatic and happy. They say they are there in response to a charge of violating anti-hate laws. Bellini queries what they should do next. Christoph quickly mentions that they might need to postpone the Führer show. The Dar says they are free to continue broadcasting. Bellini exhales in relief as Christoph makes a fake smile. After the dog departs, Krommeyer gives Christoph a letter containing the payment for the dog that Hitler had earlier in his trip butchered. The letter is happily received by Christoph, who suspects it could be a pretext for trouble. Hitler is then subjected to a TV program where he is directly questioned about his various contributions to the war. Hitler replies that he wants to help people, but the interviewer counters by saying that none of his actions can be justified. He plays the video of him shooting the dog for him. The audience is disturbed by the video. Hitler threatens to treat him similarly because he is enraged. He adds that he will convert their studio into a tank parking lot. When he observes people's negative reactions, Christoph becomes happier. Following the disastrous interview, Christoph is chosen to take over as manager instead of Bellini. Following that, Hitler moves in with Fabian at his home. He laughs at the course destiny has taken and begins to write his second book. The book is soon available in stores. 3 months later, everyone is gathered in a meeting at the TV studio to discuss the enormous loss the company has suffered. Witzigmann's show, in Christoph's opinion, will get them back on track, but a co-worker informs him that he has left his position. Christoph becomes agitated and angry with the chosen workers for losing the show. Getting Hitler back is a suggestion made by a staff member, which excites Christoph. He goes in search of Hitler once more and tells Fabian that he will put $1 million into the movie that Fabian and Hitler are making in exchange for their permission to broadcast it on TV. When Hitler and Fabian arrive at Krommeyer's home, the grandmother of Krommeyer recognizes Hitler. She asserts that Hitler killed everyone by gassing them. She exclaims that he is a criminal and commands him to leave. Hitler expresses surprise that Krommeyer is a Jew while they are in the car. He begins to disparage Jews by referring to them as less than human. Hitler's actions and his words disappoint Fabian. Hitler is asked to reenact how he arrived at the location back on the set by Fabian. Hitler is questioned about what transpired prior to the ball finding him in the woods, but he is unable to recall it. Later that evening, as he exits the set, some thugs surround him. He receives a severe blow to the face while being referred to as the reason to take Germany back. Hitler finds himself in a hospital in front of Bellini as soon as he opens his eyes. At the same time, Fabian watches the video he recorded of the boys playing soccer. Hitler has emerged from his position of lying when he is closely examined. Fabian is astounded by what came before. He rushes there and discovers a sign indicating the historical location of the Führer bunker there. Hitler is not there when Fabian rushes to the hospital. Bellini claims to be on his way to the shooting location. Bellini does not believe Fabian when he claims to be the real Adolf Hitler. Fabian feigns insanity while frantically trying to explain his theory. He runs away as the guards attempt to capture him. Then Fabian enters the frame and points a gun at Hitler. Hitler replies that he never claimed to be anyone else when asked about his identity. Hitler responds to Fabian's claim that his propaganda is fooling the populace by stating that in 1933, the electorate chose a leader who openly shared his entire program. With his gun, Fabian drags Hitler up a building. Hitler is cornered and branded a monster by the man. Hitler responds by saying that ordinary people chose an extraordinary man and trusted him with the nation's future. He explains that individuals chose him because they share similar values. Fabian shoots Hitler in a fit of rage, causing him to fall from the building and land on the street. Soon, Hitler's voice can be heard telling Fabian that no German can get rid of him. Hitler, who had just been knocked to the ground, reappears behind it. Everyone applauds for the shoot as Bellini abruptly orders a cut in the studio. It turned out to be just a movie shoot, with a random actor playing the part of Fabian. Hitler then requests that everyone think of their fellow soldiers who were unable to join them. Krommeyer is sobbing while watching Fabian through a hole in the mental ward in another location. Following the success of the movie, Hitler and Bellini are very busy signing autographs and doing interviews. The people on the street seem to like Hitler and salute him respectfully as they pass by a car. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And while you're here, consider subscribing. We would love to have you as part of our community.